The version 3.0 update that we have been waiting for is finally here. Many people are looking forward to this latest version of Honkai Star Rail because there are many updates that we will get in this version. And one of them is the number of characters banners that will appear in this version. And of course, I've already made a video about character recommendations that you should take in the upcoming version. Well, aside from these interesting things, there are actually important updates that we should discuss about the upcoming 3.0 update. Yes, the update is about a new set of relics that have an effect that is quite interesting to discuss. The two relics are called Hero of Triumphant Song and Poet of Mourning Collapse. Personally, I think these two relics have a very good set effect that can even change the position of the best relics for some existing characters. So, without further ado, I'm Hoyo Station and we are going to talk about the two new relics that will appear in the upcoming version 3.0. Let's do this. Do you have a character or weapon in the game that you really want but you don't have enough stellar jades? Here's a smarter way to recharge your favorite games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Look no further than Lootbar. Lootbar is the most reliable top-up platform. It saves up to 20% for all orders compared with the official channel, and it provides an 80% off for your first purchase. It's 100% safe as you will only be using your UID. We will buy pack for 3,000 stellar jades for $42, which otherwise would have costed $50. Totally saving $7.5. We received the crystals we purchased in the less than 3 minutes. All recharges will be done through the official channel with miHoYo, which allows you to enjoy all top-up offers. Ready to level up your gaming experience? Check the link in the description to get the amazing discount. Okay, so the first set of relics we are going to discuss here are the Hero of Triumphant Song relics. Relics with a design like Gladiator's armor have very interesting effects because they have effects that have never existed before. For the fact of the 2-piece set, it provides an additional 12% attack, which is nice. As for the fact of the 4-piece set, if there is a Memo Sprite in the field, then it will increase the user's speed by 6%. And when the user's Memo Sprite attacks the enemy, it will increase the critical damage of the user and the Memo Sprite by 30% for 2 turns. Isn't the effect of this relic interesting? Now with this interesting relic effect, who do you think is the right character to use this relic? The first character to benefit from this relic is clearly AGLAEA. As we know, AGLAEA is a character with the first Memo Sprite mechanism in the game. Her Memo Sprite, called Garment Maker, is a Memo Sprite that has a DPS role that relies on speed as its main kit. Although she doesn't have as high a speed as Garment Maker, AGLAEA is still one of the fastest characters in the game right now. With her maximum buff calculation, she can easily reach above 200 speed. Anyway, having a high speed for this character is not without reason. Some of her kits, such as traits called the Myopic's Doom, will increase the attack of AGLAEA and also the Garment Maker by 720% of AGLAEA's speed and 360% of Garment Maker's speed. So it's easy. The higher AGLAEA's speed, the greater the attack she will have. And of course, her damage output will also be greater. Now with this need, it's clear that the Hero of Triumphant Song will be very ideal for AGLAEA, because in addition to this set of relics adding attack to the user, this set of relics will increase speed and provide bonus critical damage when the Garment Maker attacks the enemy. Since Garment Maker have a very high attack rate, it's clear that this effect will be active all the time. In addition, the addition of critical damage will also help increase the damage output of AGLAEA's joint attack. As we know, AGLAEA's enhanced basic attack called a Slash by 1000 Volt Keys will give attacks to the enemy that are of the joint attack type. For those of you who don't know joint attack is a type of attack that will involve multiple targets to certain enemies. So clearly, the addition of buffs from these relics will be very useful for AGLAEA. The second character to benefit from these relics is none other than the Remembrance TRAILBLAZER. Yes, even though Remembrance TRAILBLAZER is not a character with a DPS role like AGLAEA, the effects given by relics can still be properly utilized by RMC. Remembrance TRAILBLAZER will be able to easily trigger the Triumphant Song effect. This can be observed from the effect given by relics, which implies that our Memo Sprite have to attack the enemy first, right? Well, it just so happened that Remembrance TRAILBLAZER also has an ultimate called Together Mem that can attack all enemies when activated, which automatically activates the effect of this relic. In addition, some of the kits that get the effect directly from this relic are on the Memo Sprite talent called Friends Together. which is a talent that can increase the critical damage of all allies based on the amount of critical damage owned by Mem. Now, with the help of the relics called Hero of Triumphant Song, it's clear that the buff provided by this talent will increase, which means it will provide better buffs for the entire team. Very interesting, isn't it? To be honest, the use of the relics named Hero of Triumphant Song is quite limited right now, because not many characters have the Memo Sprite mechanic. But I personally believe that these relics will still be able to be used in the future when the next unit with the Memo Sprite mechanic appears in the Honkai Star Rail. The next relic we need to talk about is the relic called Poet of Mourning Collapse. Honestly, this relic is one of the most interesting things to come out in the upcoming 3.0 release. Why is that? Because not only does this relic have a good effect, but the effect of this relic can also be applied universally to existing characters. The relic called Poet of Mourning Collapse has 2-piece set effect that increases the quantum damage dealt to the enemy by 10%. While in the 4-piece set effect, it will reduce the user's speed by 8%, and if the user's speed is below 110 or 95 speed, then the user will get an increase in critical rate by 20% or 32%. If we look at it at first glance, we can already see that this relic is a very good relic, even if we compare to a relic that has a similar effect, namely the relic called Genius of Brilliant Stars. Poet of Mourning Collapse provides a much better and more universal effect than the effect of Genius of Brilliant Stars, which has a requirement in its effect that the enemy must have quantum weakness. In fact, even though Poet of Mourning Collapse has a speed reduction effect, the effect of increasing critical rate by 32% is not to be underestimated. Because when you get an extra critical rate of this size, it's a big plus that allows us to almost not need a lot of critical rate on the relic substat that we have, and we can replace it with the critical damage substat. Interesting, right? Well, just like the previous relic, who will be able to use this one relic? The first character to benefit from the relic called Poet of Mourning Collapse is of course Jade. As we know, Jade is a character who has a quantum type with the erudition path. This means that the effect of 2-piece sets that increase quantum damage will be well utilized by Jade. Now we will discuss in terms of speed. Actually, Jade's base speed has a number of that is not low, which is 103 points. So if we reduce the speed reduction in the relic, Jade will have exactly 95 points of speed. This means that she can maximize the effect of this relic, which requires her to have a speed of 95 points or less. But since Jade has a speed that perfectly matches the requirements of the relic, it's clear that we cannot use any speed substats on our relic because it will make our speed higher than 95 and the critical rate increase buff from that relic will drop to 20%. Then the next question is, does Jade have a problem if you have to do it at a low speed? Well, Jade is actually a character that has a role as a sub DPS that can attack enemies while also assisting certain characters with a buff called Debt Collector. So actually she doesn't really need speed to be able to do her job. So this relic is very suitable to be used by Jade as a sub DPS in your team. Okay, so now we move on to the next character to benefit from Poet of Mourning Collapse, and that is Clara. As we all know, Clara is one of the best base characters we can have. Because she has a pretty universal kit, she can be used in different endgame modes like MOC, Pure Fiction, and even Apocalyptic Shadow. Now, the biggest reason why Clara is perfect for using this relic is because Clara doesn't need speed at all. Yes, Clara is a character that focuses on counter damage, which means that the more often the enemy attacks Clara, the more damage she will deal. So in theory, high speed is counterproductive for Clara. On the other hand, Clara's starting speed is already quite slow. She is perhaps one of the slowest characters in the game, with a speed of 90. Therefore, a speed reduction of 8% is not a significant thing for her. In fact, we cannot use the effect of her 2-piece set that increase quantum damage because Clara is a unit that has physical type. But it would be a shame to miss out on the 32% increase in critical rate for Clara. With the addition of critical rate of this size, we will be able to focus more on finding other substances that can increase their abilities, such as attack and also critical damage. Interesting, isn't it? It would be incomplete, right, if we didn't mention YUNLI as a character who will benefit from the latest relic in the upcoming 3.0 patch. Yes, just like Clara, YUNLI has the potential to maximize the effect of the Poet of Mourning Collapse relic. YUNLI has a kit that is very similar to Clara's, with a counter-attack type kit that does not require speed at all, so she will be very good at using the relic. In fact, Yunli's speed is not as slow as Clara's, which is 94. But still, if she gets an 8% reduction from Poet of Mourning Collapse, it will still make Yunli have a speed below 95, which means she will still get a massive 32% critical rate. Currently, Yunli already has an excellent relic set called the Wind-Soaring Valorous, which can increase attack and also ultimate damage on follow-up attacks. Honestly, I don't have any data on which one is better to use on Yunli, the Wind-Soaring Valorous or Poet of Mourning Collapse. But considering that Poet of Mourning Collapse provides a massive critical rate increase, this relic could be a pretty close competitor to the Wind-Soaring Valorous in patch 3.0. What do you think? Okay folks, maybe that's it for the second relic discussion. What do you think? Which one will you be farming later? Please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out my other videos, which are just as cool. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video.